pair of Air Jordans. A crowd busted through this door in Indiana. And remember, as you're watching these pictures, this is all over shoes.
Shoppers fighting to get their hands on the limited edition Valentine's Day Stanley Cup.
Drowning in debt just to buy a mass-produced sneaker is not a hobby. That's your religious submission to a footwear company. Look at what you're worshipping. That's just a bit of rubber and glue stitched together in a factory, but you treat it like it's a holy relic. Brand loyalty used to mean a product simply didn't fall apart, so you just bought it again. Apparently now, that's a psychiatric condition with a monthly subscription fee, which as soon as a brand drops a new color or a new improved model upon, adults with mortgages, they start speaking like they just been drafted into a crusade. If a water bottle gets an exclusive label, people act like hydration requires a guest list and a bouncer. You are not part of a community. You are an unpaid intern for a revenue algorithm. The modern brand stopped competing on function and they started competing on meaning. They attached unboxings, drops, entire system until buying a mass-produced object looked like spiritual enlightenment. Once a product becomes your personality in your everyday life, logic doesn't even get a seat at the table. This isn't shopping. It's identity cosplay for people who can't build a personality from scratch.
This tastes better out of a bear-shaped.
The brand community is a boardroom hallucination. It's actually a marketing team that realized that loneliness is highly profitable. Once you drive those sales funnel, you are now expected to bond with the strangers over a vacuum-sealed mattress or a protein shake. Discord was built for coordinating video games. Slack was built for people so can do their jobs without screaming across the office. Now both of these digital chapels are added to a protein-powered chat. The push notification says join the conversation and you want to join the server. What conversation are you on about? Nobody possesses a biological urge to discuss a blender at midnight. But since the trick works so well, make you believe that your retail purchase looks like a lifestyle. The logo moves from the product directly onto your forehead. You stop buying things and start renting identities. Once you start switching brands, it's not your choice anymore. It's an existential crisis. Once the label is gonna peel off, you have nothing left. You pay monthly so you can keep the costume on. If you look at the customer acquisition cost, which is currently at the cartoonish level high in regards to prices, buying digital ads is like throwing money into a volcano. So companies stopped finding new buyers and started squeezing the hostages that I already have. You have the ceremony, which in our case is a cardboard box that looks pretty meh initially. But once you open that cardboard or that package slow, the expensive side, it's feeling and unpacking. Well, you're also gonna get a printed note inside pretending that the warehouse wept while packaging your order. Then you film it. Unboxings aren't product reviews anymore. They look more like religious testimonies. Grown adults are filming themselves opening cardboard with the absolute gravity of a medical diagnosis, like they found a solution to cure cancer.
These things. Ah! And it's pink! Okay, we're gonna have to try this.
And now since the brand gives you a 5% discount code, in exchange, you become their attack dog in comment section. Because that's what you are. You pay full price for the privilege of working free public relationships for a company that views you strictly as a conversion rate. Once you look at the loyalty tire, the mask completely slips off. You've got bronze tires, silver, gold, platinums, all these wannabe medals. Medals for shopping pretty much. It's a literal scoreboard which is glued to your wallet to make buying moisturizer feel like competitive sports. The app feeds you points, streaks, and digital confetti. It's the exact same dopamine mechanics that's used in slot machines and in games. But these are moved into retail with a straight face. Then you start speaking their language. Everything is an experience now. Nothing is just expensive. Price hikes become added value. Congratulations, you played yourself, to quote somebody else. And then you repeat their corporate scripture like you just reached nirvana. When the vocabulary belongs to the brand, criticism can't even form properly in your head. If a normal purchase gets dressed up as a personal growth, you're gonna repeat it sincerely throughout. Like a corporation gifted you enlightenment instead of a stupid plastic cup, for example. Scarcity, you already probably know the term. I don't need to bore you with it. It's just a mass-produced item that gets labeled as limited. And adults start to sprint and run and fight online just so they can get that last item. They call it demand. Well, I call it choreography. It's staged. They could easily manufacture more. However, they chose abundance that make a trophy look exactly what it is. It's just merchandise. And the exclusive clubhouse that you join to get early access, it's a voluntary surveillance facility. They don't want your friendship. They want to know what zip code you live in and what podcast you listen to. Basic data or information. You trade your privacy for the privilege of being first in line just to buy a stupid cup or sweatshirt, whatever you want to buy first, which doesn't make any sense. And once you've done that, scarcity is gonna get sold to you twice. First is by restricting the item, and then by dangling access to belonging. That's an elegant extortion. And once that object becomes status, just like I mentioned, logic is treated as a threat. Look at Stanley cups or Starbucks cup drops. It's just a molded plastic, yet it triggers color-coded lineups and real-world stampedes at Target. Now, go into one of these spaces and say out loud to people. Just tell them, mate, it's just a cup. Calm down. If you did that, well, you gotta be prepared for the repercussions. Watch their immune system activate. You're gonna be immediately labeled as a hater, or jealous, or you're just broke because you didn't get yours. All those stupid things. They aren't defending their installation. They're defending their delusion that they have in their head. Admitting that the trophy is just a cup equals to them admitting that their personality is empty. And that is a cognitive dissonance with a handle and a straw. Hence the cup. The brand barely has to speak. You barely hear them talking. Congregation polices the rules for free. Absolutely terrified of looking ordinary in public. Because that's boring. You don't want boring. And once this brand developed a cult, it needs interpreters. Such as influencer. They don't just sell you product, they sell you correct facial expressions to wear whilst you're holding it like a newborn baby looking at the item or idea. The mediocre release becomes iconic simply because someone said it confidently in good lighting and they had a discount code attached to the title description. This is an economy of devotion. The brand gets the sales, the creator gets a commission, and so you pay the title in money and attention. This is why the internet criticism gets so nasty. If a influencer's entire identity is built on being the one who knows, or let me tell you something, disagreement with them it's heresy for them. It threatens their authority, and in this ecosystem, being right is completely optional. You don't have to be right. Being repeated is the job, and to repeat the same thing like broken record. People don't stay loyal because the product is flawless. They stay because leaving is humiliating. Once you have posted and flexed and defended the brand, you went through all this trouble. Switching is not a decision anymore. It's a confession. It's a public admission that your refined taste was just a marketing scam in a expensive packaging. And now your brain hates that feeling, so it doubles down and calls it standards. That is your exit tax. It is paid in your pride. And that is why once you build that collection in one-time purchases and all those limited edition wannabe, a shelf is your shrine. And a shrine creates inertia and is stopping you from watching your own identity evaporate in real time. But we went a bit too far. Let's come back for a second. Since now you're just a biological organism willingly submitting to a piece of plastic. A transaction is just a trade. It's not a blood oath. You give them your money, hand you over the item, and that's it. The story ends. That is the only healthy version of reality. The ultimate modern luxury is a transactional amnesia. A company that takes your cash and immediately forgets you exist. There are no streaks, there are no ranks, no synthetic intimacy, no corporate prayer circle, all happening in your pocket. Those are non-existent. Delete that app. Just leave that Discord server, whatever you're doing. Stop performing loyalty for a logo that doesn't even know you are alive. Let that receipt die the exact second the payment clears. And if you need a brand to tell you who you are, you don't have a personality. You have a barcode, which is attached here.
I'm kinda cool.